Hello and welcome everyone. I am Ravi, and today I'll be going through some of the basic principles behind counting, and that should help you in answering questions based on problems in counting. So, problems in counting usually start with how many, how much, or a total number of, etc. etc. When you're basically required to figure out the number of ways in which a particular task can be achieved, or a number of things that are left after a certain task has been done. So let's start off with the first problem, which is let's say Harry has five different books that he currently owns, and he's donated three books to someone to a charity. And the question that you're proposed with is how many books is he left with? So, an intuitive way to look at the problem is to think that there were five books initially, and he is left with less books because he's donated them away. So the number of books that he's left with would be 5 minus 3, that is equal to 2. And the way to do it is essentially we take the 5 books, we cross over the books that he's donated away to some charity, and then he's left with the 2 remaining books. Mathematically, 5 minus 3 becomes 2. So this was an easy problem. Let's look at a variation of the problem wherein Harry has 5 books and somebody came and donated him 3 books. Now, since Harry was donated 3 books, how many books does he now have? So, what we do is we take the 5 books, we say, oh, he got 3 more books, and essentially we add them. And the intuition behind adding is that he got more, he now has, since he was donated, he should now have more books than he initially had. So the total number of books would be 1, 2, 3. You can easily count it by your hand as well, which is 8, which is essentially 5 plus 3 equal to 8, right? So the intuition behind these two problems was essentially being able to direct when do you want to count versus when do you want to subtract. Let's go to a more complex problem wherein, let's say Harry has 5 books, and assuming that he has the same copy of the 5 books, and the problem you have posed is how many ways can he donate it to 2 different charities? So let's take this as charity 1 and this as charity 2, right? So the way to do this could be uh, to say that we basically enumerate different ways of donating. So one way is he can donate 1 book to charity 1 and 4 books to charity 2. And essentially, since he has 5 books, the total should always come out to 5. And even before that, he could donate 0 books to charity 1 and 5 books to charity 2. We basically enumerate all the possibilities, comma 2, 4, comma 1, and 5, comma 0. So the total number of ways would come out to be 6 here, right? A simpler way. So this was an easy problem, but let's say what happens in case Harry has 100 different books. Writing down 100 might be hard, so a shortcut way of doing this would be given n books that Harry has. This is a problem wherein you basically try to break n into 2 numbers. So you can either say that he can give 0 to n books to 1, so let's say that is x, and there is only one way of donating n minus x books to see charity 2. And since this number x can go from 0 to 100, this would come out to be 101 ways, which essentially is n plus 1 ways. So in general, we can say that the answer to this problem given n is n plus 1, which comes out to be true for 5 and 5 plus 1. So this was an easier problem that we kind of went with. Let's go to a more complex problem wherein we're given the same question but a slightly variation of the question wherein the the books that Harry has are still five, but now he has to give it in a way that both the charities have at least one book. So that means that you essentially have to discard away this variation and this variation. And so the total number of books that he would have is 1, 2, 3, 4. The total number of ways he can divide comes out to be 4. A question that we should ask ourselves is, how do we generalize this? So let's go back and put charity 1 and charity 2, right? And then basically come up with enumerations. 1 comma 4, 2 comma 3, 3 comma 2, and 4 comma 1. So a generalized version of would be, we can break n into into 0 to n, right? Or 0 to n. So let's say this is x, and so this is what charity 1 gets, and the charity 2 gets n minus x. But note, in this problem here, we cannot have x equal to, we discard away solutions where x is equal to 0 or x is equal to n, because then one of the charities will have 0 books. So the number of ways would be the number of ways of distributing n from 0 to n, which we already saw was n plus 1 minus 2 variations, which is n equal to 0, x equal to 0 and x equal to n, which becomes n minus 1. And we see for the number 5, n minus 1 is 4, right? So this was the way we can solve this particular problem. Now let's come up with another variation of the problem, wherein Harry has 5 books, but in this case, the books are all different. So this is book 1, this is book 2, this is book 3. I'm just trying to draw variations, and this is book 5. Now how many ways can Harry essentially divide these books into 2 different charities? This is a slightly harder question which involves combinations, and we'll cover that in the next tutorial. Thank you and have a good day.